mapper layout, it's very straightforward. You can, the core of it, like adding the layers and the background maps, all these things can be done in Quantum GIS, and with a click of a button you can export it to .map file and then read .map file in your mapper or map server.
Basically using Quantum GIS to set whatever styles you wanted, such as thematic mapping or symbology based on attributes of your data. So once you've got a style that you're comfortable with that adequately represents your data, you could then write that out to what's called a map file, which essentially tells map server in the background how to render the data, like what thickness your lines should be, what color, etc.
You have got transparency and the other things within that, so you can click on that and make basic adjustment.
There is something in
desktop GIS that.
Yeah, I mean our desktop, our view is very good for pulling together for clients who ultimately want something with a map and a legend and a scale and all that other information. And how good is Quantum GIS on that?
After these, there's quite a lot of work on it. Is the new
something called Composer
Yeah.
is it all Print Composer, something like that? So it's a similar thing in Quantum GIS.
I mean, what we do for making publication drawings, which is stuff that goes in published books, basically, is we do the basic work in Quantum GIS, and then we send it to our graphics team as in a format that can be read by either Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape as the alternative, and they do the final high quality tweaks because of the colour scheme and stuff like that. But basically, we send the basic layout to them and then they can do the final tweaks and that. And that, for us, works as we get as good a result out of that as we ever did out of our GIS. But the stuff where you don't need publication quality, okay, so you just want to produce a nice map to give to someone, then the print composer in Quantum GIS is now perfectly adequate.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Mapper logo and all those things can be adjusted.
For this particular site, the client wanted to be able to control access to this particular data, and by default with Remapper this wasn't possible, but we've added functionality. I don't know if you can see it, there's a log out button under the top there. But this was straightforward to do. The majority of the code is all written in PHP. If you know anything about PHP, it's all written in manner, so it's easy to adapt. And to change the logos is very simple, but in terms of the license, any changes, for example, this functionality of adding log out functionality should then be republished or added back to the project because of the licensing system. If you make modifications, you should publish them. Yes, you in the floor.
The fluid mapping, that's all generated using proprietary software, such as static maps. There's no user interaction to customize what your map is in. It's just one per period.
Yes, the flood extents themselves, the package is called 2Flow, it's a proprietary flood modeling package. The reason we're using the proprietary package is because under the client's request that we use this particular package. But the map itself represents the maximum extent for dynamic events. The model was modeling a dynamic flood event, but the map is just representing the maximum extent you'd expect. So it kind of merges all of the time steps into one output. But yes, it is a static event. And in terms of the different layers, this was done for, I think, between 20 and 100-year return period, so events happening 1 in 20 years up to once in 100-year event, and these are selectable on the right-hand side, but each one is just a static map of the maximum expected outline.
If you want something more dynamic,
Animation, you mean?
Such as an animation, or?
yeah, where you could, have direct interaction, I'm not sure.
Sorry?
Where you have the direct interaction with the actual model.
What kind of interaction would you want with the model, though?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just when I generate those kind of models, scenarios, which if you want to set your scenario, you know, model my real question is more theoretically using it for software.
It's easy enough to build models into this whole process. It's just choosing it's just choosing the right framework in which to do it. Some of the work that we've done here in civil engineering and geosciences is we've been using the another OGC standard for web processing services, which allows you to run a service, if you like, and we've been encapsulating models within that web service. You then have to do more coding at this end, because when you do something, you then have to fire off that model, grab what it returns back and present it back in a way that's usable in terms of the map interface. But it's certainly possible to do those things.
Those are under WPS web processing services. But we are just using this example as web mapping service. So
the other disadvantage of doing that with this particular project is that this model takes between 5 and 8 hours to run a simulation because it's a fully hydrodynamic 2D model. So in terms of adjusting inputs such as the amount of flow that's going in, or saying what would happen if this dam were to fail, then the amount of time taken to regenerate this extent is very, very large, even with big computers. So it's quite hard to do this level of interaction. In terms of looking at what is happening, like flood onset plus 1 hour plus 4 hours, then this would be possible, and it would be possible to animate through this as well, but only for like a set of predefined scenarios at the moment.
I'm quite a fan of ArcView, but one thing I don't like is the cost of spatial analyst as an add-on and what else it offers. I noticed you've used GRASS,
Yes.
GTM, and I guess you can do slope analysis and so on. Are there any other recommendations in terms of open source for doing what spatial analysts does?
GRASS is
yeah.
coming with about 350 as default modules. So when you download it, the default modules, you have got some extra ones you can compile and you can add it later. But as default, it has got 300 something modules, and it covers pretty much all the functionalities that you need for creating things, creating
any kind of statistical analysis as well with gridded data, and it's very fast at working with gridded data. Previously to using that a few years ago, we've been carrying out analysis on raster data sets using vertical mapper or map info at the time, and we were finding that it was very slow to for example, subtract one grid from the other and discard the negative values. And with quite large grids, it was taking a very long time to do that. And so we've tried to start using GRASS, this is a while ago now, to do the process instead, and discovered that it could process the data much quicker. So with that in mind, the other main benefit I find personally of GRASS is that GRASS as a GIS package is a collection of many, many modules, and all these modules are available in a drop-down menu, very easily usable within the software, but all of them are also available as a command line module. So with a very good help, tells you exactly what the command line parameters are. So then for a long-winded process, something quite complicated, like there's things we do with flood extents to try and refine them from a coarse 20-meter grid, for example, down to a 2-meter grid data set based on a 2-meter ground model. In map info, this is a very long-winded process, took a lot of time to do, but with using GRASS, you can just write a script to call the modules you require in a specific order, and get it to do quite complicated tasks based on just a selection of the modules which it has, using a script to invoke them. And we then discovered you could do it much faster, and it could be completely automated. So once the script's written and there's no bugs left in the script from writing it, you can set off a massive batch of grids to process and just go and have lunch when they're done when you come back. So saving many, many man-hours. I really recommend looking into GRASS as a very good analysis package.
As a shameless plug, if you go to geo.ac.uk, in the software channel, there's a free software item, and within that there's categories such as web GIS, there's terrain modeling, processing, etc., and GIS plugins. I'm not saying it's a quality review of them, it's quite difficult to look at every single package. It's a good starting point. It has that link. So it has There's obviously packages which are on the OSGeo website as well. But this is another list of these other packages. So say you get some SRTM data and you want to use this, there's a package called PM, which is really good, just customized to get your HGT files into something more usable for another GIS. So it's a good sort of first step.
The other thing about all open source desktop packages, GIS packages, they are all modular. If you look at Quantum GIS, when you download and look at the Quantum GIS, it's very simple, but you can use whole gross analytical tools as a plugin within Quantum GIS. So if you want to do very heavy stuff, you can just load gross plugin and use Quantum GIS as a graphical user interface for gross. So it's not somebody need to rewrite all the modules again for the Quantum GIS to do the same functionality as gross.
Could you do animation of what?
I would have thought so. We haven't for this one, but I'm sure it would be possible to do. Probably it requires a bit of modification maybe. A bit of JavaScript to dynamically load different layers.
Across under JS animation for
Yes.
do you know any anything for graphs?
For gross, you can treat time series rasters, so the rasters which they have timestamps, you can load them and create animation out of that. Actually, there are some plugins for gross to read HECRAS data or build your model out of for HECRAS.
Any other questions?
That's nice.
Thank you very much.